in the top right, in the green trunks, for Team Grubby, it is Grubby!
Woo! Oh, I just accidentally cheered.
In the bottom left corner, playing for Fnatic, our handsome Protoss player, it is Fnatic Harstem!
Man, you mentioned that Grubby is so experienced that he knows how to deal with these situations, but if I were him, I really wouldn't know what to do, especially in the PvP. Like, do you go Stargate, do you try to play safe and solid, or do you just do something crazy?
When you're as seasoned as he is, there's going to develop algorithms in your mind of decisions. So in the tournaments he has success where he went down one series and he did something gimmicky or cheesy the second game and then played macro the third game. That worked a couple of times for him, just given an example.
Yeah.
That becomes an algorithm, it becomes a basis. Unconsciously, he's going to lean towards that decision every time he comes in this situation.
All right.
So it's a difficult decision regardless, but I do think he's got a plan set already.
It's still important to remain conscious in your decisions and your play, though. Otherwise, you get predictable.
Yeah,
I think that's a great mistake some people can make, especially these two players who have been actually been practicing quite heavily against each other in preparation for WCS. I'm pretty sure they thanked each other in their respective winners interview when they actually got very far in their WCS runs.
Well, Grubby never thanks his practice partners because he thinks it's a bad idea, but Harstem does.
He just thanked his practice partners then.
Huh?
Like, he just thanked his practice partners in general.
Yeah, but he never names them because he doesn't like to it's given information and he doesn't do that, which is a bit hard. It's a bit hardcore, but it's very smart, and I agree with the decision.
All right. It's a bit of a testimony to his experience as well. You know, you want to keep every single bit of information you can hidden from your opponent wherever possible. We have Harstem once again scouting. Grubby is also scouting. This kind of signals to me that neither of these players intend to go for some sort of blind build order. They intend to be able to at least react to what their opponents are doing.
Yeah, for sure. But I think this is nearly a must in PvP. I rarely see games where there's no probe scout. But I do agree with you. Both players want to play safe. Harstem doesn't want to throw away the second game and be at the decider, and Grubby doesn't want to go down 0-2. Like, the second game is always more tense.
Yeah, it is. Well, one player is on match point, so it being tense is almost a given. Grubby actually planted a pylon down all the way at the edge of his base. Harstem did manage to spot it, so that can be a tip-off, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
They're both doing it, and it's A, because you'll spot incoming Stargate units, and it's B, if the Protoss player doesn't go around the edges, he doesn't see the third pylon and assumes it's a proxy.
Yep. So the scouting probe from Harstem has been driven out. The same goes for Grubby's. And then we have the first divergence in this series. We have the Stargate on the way for Grubby, whereas Harstem is going for a Twilight Council. Now, in a straight-up fight, usually rock, paper, scissors-wise, Twilight beats Stargate, depending on the units you make. But
if it is Blink, I agree. If it is DT, it depends on if he makes oracles.
Oh, of course, yeah. Sorry, I was referring specifically to Blink.
Yeah, to Blink. Yeah, you're right. I think Blink straight up should win. But if it's not Blink, if it's DT, it becomes weird because he has a Stargate, but does he make an oracle? Does he go Phoenix?
Yeah. So we have two probes out on the map, which are actually sort of chasing each other. Grubby is scouting everywhere. Like, he's got his Mothership Core on patrol, he's sending out double stalkers. Same goes for Harstem, actually, and we're going to see the first shots fired. Grubby spots the first stalker actually on the way, pulls back his probe in response, and well, actually charges forward with his own stalker, maybe just for scouting purposes? I'm not sure what he's doing here.
Maybe, maybe just didn't pay attention. I didn't look at it closely. I was paying attention to the Oracle and the Dark Shrine that are in production right now.
Yeah.
So it is the Oracle, and it's even a second Oracle, which is great, because this means that even if his Oracle's on the other side of the map while the DTs are being warped, there's still a second Oracle with energy to use the whatever the name, the vision thingy thing.
I was going to say, like, oh, Harstem might be in trouble against this Oracle because all the Stalkers out on the map, but you know, you can tell how experienced he is because he's pulled back both of his Stalkers as well as his Mothership Core back to his main mineral line. You know, in defensive posture. At the same time, however, Grubby is moving out onto the map, flying his Oracle around, spots the Nexus being built for Harstem. And there is a proxy pylon also on the way for Harstem, so...
His Oracle's going around the bottom. Is it going to see the Dark Shrine? He just spotted the Dark Shrine. That's huge.
And it gets out alive. That's even bigger. Because this Oracle will provide detection in order to spot the DTs that are well, almost certainly on their way. There's actually a second Oracle already in the main base of Grubby, along with the Stalker Stalkers and the Mothership Core, and both players are pretty much in a good spot.
So I wonder what Grubby does now. His Harstem's Nexus is so far ahead that it's almost annoying to make a Nexus now.
Yeah.
Even though, I'm not sure, right, like PvP, but sometimes it might be the correct decision to still expand even though it's behind.
Yeah.
But it can feel so bad because your opponent's expansion is so far ahead. So I wonder what he does. But it does look like he is indeed throwing down expansion, and I think this is a tell of experience and staying calm.
He's kind of doing both. Like, he built a proxy panel at the front of Harstem's base. It's spotted by an observer, and Harstem isn't aware of the Nexus going down. So at this point, I think, oh, actually, Oracle getting a lot of kills here on these probes.
And look at Harstem's production tab. There's no probes being made. He's getting an Immortal and making a pylon.
Yeah.
He's legitimately afraid of this proxy pylon, so this is a genius move by Grubby.
Yeah, and even to back this up even further, there are Stalkers moving forward towards the base of Harstem. I think Grubby here has zero intention of actually attacking, and that's what he does. He pokes, he pops a Photon Overcharge, and falls back.
A Photon Overcharge is great too, because once the Oracle comes back in, the chance of it getting back out again becomes larger, because the Photon Overcharge often does the finishing shot on the Oracle.
Yes, Grubby definitely shows us that he wants to play this game macro. He's getting a Forge. He wants to get upgrades. He doesn't want to kill his opponent immediately. He wants to get an expansion and just build a big, strong army. And I do like the addition of a Robo Bay.
Overall, this is looking absolutely fantastic. His Forge is ahead, so his upgrades are going to be ahead. He's ahead in probes, even though his second Nexus is later, and this is due to the move with the proxy pylon and his Stalkers being out of front. Generally, this game is going great for Grubby.
Yeah, he seems to make... Oh, actually some harassment. Oh no, that's an hallucinated Phoenix. So Harstem has spotted the fact that there is a Nexus with abundance of probes next to it mining. So he should kind of know that he's been tricked. He was thinking there was an all-in coming.
He realizes he's making probes. He's even chrono boosting them. I think Harstem now, the only thing he can...
Oh, these Oracles. There's only a handful of Stalkers here, so they managed to get a few more probe kills. Looking at the actual worker count, you see Grubby's actually 10 probes ahead.
Yeah, he was 5 probes ahead, and even though normally an Oracle would not be worth 3 or 4 probes, because he is far ahead in workers already, this just makes the snowball bigger and makes Harstem have an even harder time coming back into this game.
Tech-wise, as you mentioned, Grubby's of course ahead, +1 already well on the way. Looking at the actual units, we see that they're both building up into Immortals. Harstem already has 3 Immortals.
Yeah, I think that's the way he could come back.
Yeah. Immortals are just so incredibly good in PvP, except
in
maybe
every matchup.
Well, yeah, Immortals are pretty good in general.
Oh wow, Sentry goes down.
Sniping a Sentry is absolutely huge in this matchup, Not only does it rob you of the ability to force field, but the hallucinated Phoenixes and the intelligence they provide are just a huge boost. We have now the Observer.
Even that one Sentry is very important, you're right.
Exactly. So now we have Harstem being almost forced to send his own Observer in. There's no cannon in the main for Grubby, though. Sometimes players like to do that. It's under construction because it provides a relatively amount of safety. If you see a War Prism coming in, it needs to maintain a certain amount of distance, which allows for an easier defensive warp.
The most important units are gas, so you have a bit of minerals extra, and a cannon in the mineral line is indeed just nice.
Worth the investment.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. So still army-wise, Harstem actually has a solid 2 Immortal lead. And it's very difficult, I feel, for Grubby to actually be able to overcome that. He's getting Blink and he's transitioning into Colossus. And once he actually gets a healthy amount of Colossus, he can overpower those. But Immortals, just at no stage of the game are they to be trifled with. They can focus down Colossi so fast.
Yeah, and his Immortal count is huge already. This is scary for Grubby, and there's going to be a timing window where there's going to be so much Immortals for Harstem, and there's only going to be a few Colossi for Grubby and not too much ground army.
Depending on the actual fight, of course, what we see, the main downside of making pure Immortal and no Colossus is that you do not have any massive units in order to break force fields with. So if your opponent does have a good sentry count and can actually force field accordingly, you can have a very difficult time against an army with less Immortals. We have a transition coming in from both players. Harstem is actually adding on a Fleet Beacon as well as a lot of upgrades here for Grubby right now. As well as a Stargate. I think he's making Phoenixes. Double Immortal drop.
And he's getting a Temple Archives. Hold on.
So much stuff going on at the same time, actually. Wow. And now this Phoenix is actually chasing this War Prism away in the middle of the map. I'm not sure if Harstem is in any position to intercept. He has a few Stalkers, but not that much. Okay, so he's going to drop the Immortals. Yeah, it's going to be fine.
Grubby's moving out though, and if Harstem doesn't pay attention and overcommits with like a few units, he might get caught.
Yeah, getting caught on the map against this army would be disastrous. Still, 5 Immortals. would chew through the Stalker Force almost easily. There's of course more than just Stalkers in this army, and I do feel Force Fields are gonna just make a huge comeback in this game. But we have the first Tempests out on the way, and that's actually gonna swing this game around.
Yeah, I'm loving the YOLO move from Harstem, where he just goes, well, shit, I'm behind and I don't have very many units, and he's ahead and everything, but he's making Colossi, so if I just get enough Tempest out and buy enough time, I might be able to win with one engagement.
Grubby's gathering all of his forces at the front here of Harstem. He's trying to deny the third almost, it seems, getting his own. Nice revelation here on top of the army of Harstem, and I think Grubby should soon be aware of the fact that there is a Tempest here. He's still producing Colossi though, but now he has a +2 timing for about 50 in-game seconds.
This timing is great. Just putting on the pressure alone is very nice. Like, Harstem's not at the point where the Tempest becomes scary yet, and Grubby...
Oh, huge miscontrol here by Harstem, losing his Tempest immediately. Great time warp here as well, catching down a few of these Zealots. More orbits here at the front, and it seems Grubby's ready to commit.
Grubby's just throwing his weight around. He doesn't need to win here, but he can.
Oh, another great time warp, picks up an Immortal, reducing the lead. Pulls back immediately. Very nice job here by Grubby. Once again, nice control. One more Tempest now in production. We'll start to focus down these Colossi, but here comes the fight.
The blink in from the Stalkers, the Tempest goes down, the Immortals are not getting shots on the Stalkers, instead they're hitting Zealots, which is not good. This is looking good for Grubby so far.
There's still a lot of Immortals here though. Grubby needs another warp in of Zealots to get on top of these Immortals, but oh my god, the rest of the meat seems to have fallen. Grubby blinks forward on top of the Immortals, more warp ins, even probes actually being... What are these probes going?
Transfer? I don't know.
I'm not sure what was up, but now Harstem is actually down on a good 30 supply. Another Tempest has spawned, but it probably will just get blinked under and killed off. There we go, blink forward by Grubby. The Tempest too slow to move out of the way. Good forceful deal, pushing back some of the Immortals. Grubby just kiting and kiting with these Colossi.
Waiting for the warpins, waiting for Harstem to come forward, because Harstem's on a timer. He needs to eventually push his army away. And every time Harstem comes forward, Grubby just engages. And every time Harstem backs up, he warps in again. Yeah,
the superior range of the Colossi is absolutely destroying Harstem here. The Colossi are just so good at kiting, going back and forth, back and forth. It feels like it's a matter of time until Grubby just has enough units here to actually break this force. Harstem now being peeled away here by the Colossi. Another blink under forwards, and GG!